This thing is so creaky. Blurbs and greetings. Got this little thingy here, the PCMCIA CD-ROM that was donated to me recently. I showed in the LGR unboxing in July 2021. This is the Axonix Pro Media 4XR, and it just went ahead and opened the lid on its own. This thing is very cheap feeling and flimsy, but I was happy to receive it because I'd never heard of it, and it looked like an interesting little device. And well, it turns out it's a little more interesting than I even thought that it was initially. It's just a very, very cheaply made thing. I mean, it feels like there's almost nothing here. So bare bones construction, that's for sure. A little power on and off button here, headphones and volume, CD controls for just playing back audio CDs, but it is a full CD-ROM, 4-speed, I assume. Got a little interface cable here. Yeah, Axonix Corporation, Salt Lake City, Utah. Apparently they were quite a thing for a while. I was doing some quick research and found that there were a whole range of these, ranging from like 2-speed to 10-speed and some other things they made. Anyway, they made a bunch of them, and they were somewhat well known for a little while for just making these things somewhat affordable in terms of these PCMCIA interface CD-ROMs, with the big selling point being not only the relative affordability and cheapness, but the fact that it does not require any batteries or AC power adapter to plug in at all. The power comes from your computer itself. That's pretty cool. And so when I received this, I was like, what the heck, man? What is this? So it's got the little AC power connector there, a little barrel plug, but on the other end of this cracking apart cable, I saw a PS2, or what appeared to be PS2, pass through. Look at that. So there are some folks theorizing in the comments that, hey, maybe it's getting power from PS2. Turns out, yeah, at least it's getting some of it from it. 5 volts DC is going through the PS2 port, whether it's mouse or keyboard of your computer, usually a laptop with these kind of things, and powering the CD-ROM through that. And I think drawing the rest of the current or whatever else it needs through the PC card slot, maybe, because I don't think just the PS2 is going to be enough to power the whole thing. I don't know, because just looking at the bottom of this here, it does take 5 volts DC, which is what it's getting from the PS2, but also 1.5 amps. That is more than a PS2 port can do, I think. Either way, it's powered via this. And they also did sell, or I guess provide, AC power adapter that you could plug into a wall as well, but if you got this, then, you know, this right here is all you need, and there's no batteries. That's pretty cool. Like some of my others, like from Panasonic and such, the external CD-ROMs like this, they need some kind of power, whether it is a bunch of AA's inside or AC power brick, which makes it just that much more annoying to deal with. Of course, the backpack CD-ROMs, external ones, those all needed an AC power brick. So we're going to try it out real quick with this lovely Compaq Armada 7710 MT. I did a blurb on this a while back. I was very shocked to find that this is a nice working computer. And it has, of course, a couple of PC card slots right there, Type 2 PCMCIA, as well as PS2. So let's just plug it all in and see if it works. I don't have the software for it. If there is any software, I was reading that it doesn't need any drivers or software, so we'll see. But yeah, PS2 right here. And yeah, that just plugs in right there. And then yeah, we'll just plug this in one of these. All right. Move the camera, we'll power it on. Okay, let's see what happens here. That's on, turn this on. Hey, we got lights, power and ready. The other one is speed. Yeah, I really don't know what to expect with this thing. But it is at least getting power. Fascinating. So yeah, unplugging the PS2 cable turns off the lights. So yeah, it's drawing the voltage over PS2. That's pretty cool. And I guess anything else is just straight up handled by the PC card slot, We'll see. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Axonix Pro Media R2 just popping up there. Supposedly it just works, but well, guess not. Whenever I read that it doesn't actually need drivers, I guess that's wrong. Maybe they were referring to Windows 98 or something. But in this version of 95, it did not find anything. Okay. The little PCMCIA thingy here is at least popping up. Yeah, it's, you know, it sees it. It knows that there's a thing there, it just doesn't know how to use it. Alright, so it just stopped the device. Let me eject it. Okay, so the card's not in there. The power's still going to it, so whatever power it's getting seems to be all from PS2, at least for the lights here, right? Let's just see if anything happens whatsoever if I put a CD in there. Yeah, it's not doing anything when I close the lid or press any of the buttons. I was thinking that it might at least try to spin things up, because it does have audio CD playback capability as well, which I believe is separate from any of the data reading. Just restarting here, seeing if that changes anything. You never know. Oh. Well, that was weird. I turned the power on and off to the CD-ROM, and the computer turned off too. Okay. All right, so it's turned off over here. We turn it on. That's fine. Huh. How odd. What a funky little CD-ROM. Okay, well, I'm going to go and see if I can find some software and maybe some documentation or something if I'm lucky. I don't know. I looked the other day and I didn't find anything real quick, so we'll report back and maybe we'll be able to get this demo CD running on here through this Axonix 4XR Pro Media thingy. Okay, well, it's a week later and this has it's moved forward, but in such a stupid way. It's just been a comedy of errors and failures relating to mid-90s plug-and-play jank and cheap hardware and software that barely might have functioned back in the day, but I mean, I'm using stuff that it would have back in the day, and it's still not doing what it's supposed to. Okay, so obviously I have got it spinning. It's got the little ready light flashing. It's doing stuff more than it was when we left off earlier. So I figured out a lot of things, and yeah. First off, the thing that I tried, of course, was just other laptops running Windows 95 and also 98, just to see if maybe there was something different about those, either the card interface or the software or drivers or something, but nope. It just got to the same point of just asking for drivers and not knowing what to do with it, and that was it. So, okay, I was going to just go down more of a rabbit hole of trying to find somebody with some software, like find drivers for it for 95, but everything that I was looking at just says it works with 95. You don't need drivers or software with Windows 95, which confused the crap out of me, because obviously it wasn't doing anything. And then I ran across this right here, an old parts supplier. They apparently had a bunch of Axonix stock for like 15, 20 years and still had some left, and so I bought one. This is a 10XR, I guess a little bit of a later version, sold for parts, not working, and indeed it is not working, but it also had the documentation, it had some software, it had some new cables and a PCMCIA adapter, as well as a wall wart power supply, 5V DC, 1 amp. So I figured, oh, okay, cool, there's more things to try here. So first thing I tried, of course, was the software, which did nothing at all in Windows 95, as expected. It's labeled as Windows 3.1 and DOS only, and indeed, that's all that's on the disk. And when I tried to get that going on some Windows 3.1 laptops, the only thing that happened was it said, oh, this is not compatible. You need new, I don't know, card software or something weird. I couldn't get anywhere with that. So that sucked. So then I went back to that Toshiba satellite and then back to this machine here eventually, and tried the other PCMCIA cable. This is the one, the adapter, that the 10XR came with that I got for parts. And lo and behold, it starts up with this message here. It just recognizes it as a standard IDE controller. And indeed, looking in the manual, the documentation that came with this version, it says, yep, that's what you need. For Windows 95, it's just plug and play. It just works. And I guess that's how it works. It just sees it as a hard disk controller. And I guess that's why the other adapter wasn't working with this drive. And that is because I think this adapter here is only for Windows 3.1 and DOS or something. I don't know, but it does not see it as a hard disk controller as this adapter does. So that solved that, but it still wasn't spinning up and it still wasn't, doing any of this. So I'm like, okay, well maybe it really is the PS2 port again, because, we saw earlier it was messing with power and it like flicked off the laptop too. Okay, so I tried the other PS2 cable that this parts unit came with. Didn't make a difference. Also didn't make a difference on the Toshiba satellite or Texas Instruments thing I tried it on. So, pulled out the wall wart, plugged it in, and there you go. All of a sudden we got exactly the power we needed. So, yeah. And I was looking through the documentation for that, and like, of course, notice one of the first things in here, it's like, read me. There's all these computers that don't work. Like, these are not the computers that work. Here's the computers that don't work. And in fact, most of the manual for the compatibility list is just going over parts of this. Look, those are all computers that don't work on the left there. Here are some compatible computers, but every single one of them has a caveat. In other words, that's like half the selling point of this thing completely out the window. Yeah, none of the laptops that I've tried this on have given it enough power to actually power it up and spin or do anything. So it's just plugged into the wall now, and now it's effectively like any other PCMCIA external CD-ROM thing, except it doesn't work. After all that, it still doesn't work. It just spins up. It sees it like now as a CD-ROM drive after a restart, which is cool, but that's all it does. And it doesn't matter what disk I've tried. I've reinstalled the drivers, the plug and play stuff. Tried it on the Toshiba satellite. Tried different combinations of cables again. I've tried the parts unit just to see if maybe it could work of some kind, but no, like the drive doesn't spin even with the wall wart, or at least it doesn't do it like this one does. And then the eject mechanism, the little latch is completely busted and it doesn't even close correctly, so it won't actually spin it as it needs to, even if that one was working. So I'm thinking that maybe this particular cable is really meant for those later 10 or the later XRs, like the 10XR, and then this, maybe the reason this is not working is because it does need this other adapter that is a different version, like they have different model numbers. Maybe that's the case, but I haven't been able to get that one working with anything, even with the drivers that I found, which are the version 4.7. So at this point, yeah, just doesn't work at all. And it mostly just freezes the system. That's as far as I can get. And like I said, I've been working on this thing for over a week now, off and on. Not every day, but a few afternoons. So, if anybody has some software that I could try that's a little bit different, just something, I would love to try it. And I've gone through this guide. Man, there are so many things in here, like so many options to try out. Like, it particularly does mention certain compact armadas need protect mode, hard disk interrupt handling needs to be disabled. And then you need to remove your PCMCIA controller driver and reinstall it and use IRQ10, not 11. There are so many little things it says to try in troubleshooting, and I've tried every single one of them. Nothing. This is as far as I can get. And yeah. So, I have uploaded my drivers, version 4.7 for DOS and 3.1. That's for the XR. There is also the 2X and the XRP. Those are incompatible as well, so those won't help me. But if anybody knows of XR drivers, Axonix XR drivers version 4.7 or later for Windows 95 in particular, this is such a particular thing, yeah, let me know. I'd love to find them. Anyway, there'll be a link in the description to download the drivers for that one, but even if it was gonna work eventually, yeah, it just does that a lot of times too. Just says nothing's there. yeah, it's so cheap. And the fact that it still has to be plugged into a wall to work, apparently, at least on all of my laptops, then it really doesn't make it appealing whatsoever. I've got many other external CD-ROMs that work 1,000 times better than this and also have to be plugged into the wall. So it's like, you know, what's the point? So that's been a fun experiment, honestly. Infuriating, but kind of fun. Just seeing how garbage this thing actually was. Like, I figured it'd kind of be crappy, but it's a lot crappier than I thought it'd be. I still haven't gotten just the basic CD player function to work at all, which makes me think there might be just something going on with the mechanism. I've cleaned it, I've moved it around, you know, to make sure nothing's gummed up. It does move back and forth on the rail. Laser's clean. I don't know. I'm at my wit's end here. Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. Absolutely nothing happened in this video.